It's just as new people, I'm nervous. I like it. Right, so good evening, welcome back to another video, welcome to the channel if you see me for the first time. My name is Chris, I'm a landscape photographer from the UK. Tonight we've come out at sunset and we're going to do some landscape photography with a Canon 1D Mk3 and a 100 to 400mm lens, purely for a bit of fun. I don't know what we're going to take pictures of tonight, we're in a bit of a woodlandy type area. I'm hoping when we get to the top of this hill there's going to be some views over East Yorkshire and the potential of some backlit clouds. So I'm going to go climb up that hill, probably get knackered and exhausted and start taking some photos. So let's get stuck in and go take some photos with a 1D Mk3 and the 100 to 400mm lens. Alright, so for this first one, it's something really simple, but there's a pile of logs that have been chopped off just in the background there, just behind Mike. You know, the pile of logs down there. The sun's just setting over the hill behind you and I quite like the way it's just lighting up that little pile of logs. So let's find a focal length with this. I mean, look at the size of this thing. It's ridiculous. So, where are we at there? Around 135mm, f4.5, or 1/25 of a second, and ISO 320. Focusing on the logs. And there's the first one taken. So I'm going to throw that on the screen for you to see. I'm going to carry on up this hill, and hopefully we're going to get a nice view of East Yorkshire when we get to the top. So we have climbed to the top of the hill and fortunately there is a bit of a view across East Yorkshire. We've got some electricity pylons, some sheep, there's a house in some trees, there's some views across the River Humber as well. So I'm hoping with the 100 to 400 I'm going to be able to find some subjects off in the distance to really hone in on. So I'm going to get the camera put on the tripod, have a little bit of a poke around to see what we can't see with it, and I'll pick this up again once we've found something to take a photograph of. That will be a good idea. Alright, so I've got the first shot set up now. We've got some power lines and some pylons, there's some trees, there's a River Humber in the background, and there's just a little bit of detail in the sky. I think this one's going to work out quite nicely, but the only problem with this Canon 1D Mk3 is the screen resolution on the back is so low, it's very difficult to really make any sort of judgment. So, settings wise, f8, ISO 3200, a 200th of a second. I'm using the 10-second timer on this for the tripod, purely because the camera and the lens, they're so heavy, you just want to give the camera just a few seconds just to settle down. So you'll know when the image has been taken, because the shutter on this is quite loud, which is there. So that image has been taken, I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to start looking around, seeing what else there is to take a photograph of, because the sun's just starting to set behind there, behind me, over in that direction.
If I wrote you a song, if I got every word perfectly weighted on a thin piece of paper, would it make any difference? Would it change for the better? If I wrote you a poem, if I posted a letter.
Alright, so the next image from tonight's video, there's a big house across the way over there. So they're surrounded by some conifer type trees and you've got East Yorkshire just sort of fading off into the distance. Now, the light is kind of not materialised, so I'm probably going to go a little bit dark and moody, some heavy dark greens I think with this image, but I quite like the composition, so let's take it. So look, a 1/25 of a second, f5 and ISO 300. I'm using a 10-second timer again because obviously I do want the camera to stabilise itself, and I'm also shooting at f5 just to really sort of blare out the background and make the house sort of pop in this image. A bit uncomfortable at the minute. There's a lot of little midge flies flying around and sort of starting to get eaten alive a little bit, but well, that image is taken, so here it is, and let's see what else we can take tonight.
On the graves, in the cracks of 1,000 leaves, somewhere in between our past and our future, rolling over all the dividing things. Are you still listening? Want to be heard by you? Slow fall into the...
Alright, so the final image from tonight's video, I'm thinking black and white for this one, I think. We've got a fence, but it's kind of snaking around, and there's a fence coming up the other side, and there's a tree in the background, and it all just sort of converges to a point on the hill. I'm kind of getting some of the texture in the sky as well with this one, which is really making me just go for contrasted black and white. You're going to have a white sky with a little bit of texture, a dark tree silhouetted against it, and a slightly lighter foreground, just leading down even further. So let's have a look at some camera settings. We're at, I don't know because I can't see, the screen's turned off. There we go, f8, a 250th per second, and ISO 320. And once again, I'm using the 10-second timer just to really allow the camera to settle down. So if you have enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up. It really does help the video out and it brings new viewers to my channel. If you enjoyed it more than that, there is a subscribe button down there. You can always press that and you'll see more nonsense from me in the future. So I'm going to leave you with a final image, and I'm going to say peace and goodbye.